The twins are here. Slightly unexpectedly, they arrived when I had been filming up until midnight the night before. Then Rupert had a nightmare.
He had a nightmare because we were all feeling really weird that day.
We were.
We knew something was not right.
We knew something was going to happen. What are you doing now? You're both sticking your bums in the air? Lie down.
Like trying to properly kick out their legs or something. Oh, look, it's only a couple more.
Just ready to be born.
It's only a few more days and then you can actually stretch your legs out, guys, okay?
And you got so many messages from your friends.
Yeah, everyone was like thinking about you and the baby. Hope you're feeling all right. Babies, I mean.
And I'd done so much laundry, just lots and lots of laundry. The babies had been really kicking around the day before, lots of movement, and then that day they hadn't moved much.
Yeah.
And I think it had just set our anxiety quite high.
And then I just thought maybe it's just because we're coming near the end and our planned cesarean is quite soon, and maybe I'm just getting anxious about it and overthinking it but yeah. And then I rang maternity triage, and then I was put on hold for ages, and then they said ring back later, and I was like, what if this was an emergency?
And you were just like, that's a sign, but it's nothing.
Yeah, so I said to Jess, and then
okay.
it was basically dinner and Rupert was hungry, and I was like, look, let's just have our dinner. And then they were moving around a bit after I'd eaten food, so I was like, oh, they're probably fine.
Fine.
Yeah, and then that night I went to sleep.
So she went to sleep. I was filming until midnight, and then Rupert had a nightmare, so I went in with him just to comfort him, fell asleep.
I woke up with some wetness between my legs, was like, oh, maybe I need a wee. More wetness between my legs. I was like, that's not a wee, and that's weird. And I was like, oh wait, maybe my waters have broken. That night, Jessica's not even next to me, so I hobbled down the stairs to Rupert's room.
For those of you who don't know, Claudia has never experienced labour before this because Rupert was a cesarean at 39 weeks. So did not do the waters breaking. So is this wee? Is this not wee? Could it be wee? Don't know.
Yeah.
It's her first experience of amniotic fluid.
It feels like you're doing a wee, but you're not doing a wee. It's just like a wee is going down your legs.
And I got woken up by her going, what do you mean?
Whilst holding my, clutching my jib, downstairs, and then going, Jessie, my waters are broken.
And she was really sweet.
And then
standing on his rug, and then she
and then I reversed out because I didn't want to have a sudden gush of water and potentially blood and whatever else you see in the movies and hear about from people's encounters of birth.
Wait, did that happen? Where's she gone
Sorry,
now?
when I stood
what just happened?
When I stood in Rupert's bathroom just dripping, and Jessica hobbled down what's going on?
I came out to the hallway and she just stood there like a gremlin.
Wet pyjama bottoms.
Bathroom,
Jessica was like, well, take your wet pyjama bottoms off then. And I was like, what do we do?
What do we do? Wait, there's a child in the house.
Well, we rang the hospital, rang maternity triage, who luckily answered straight away this time because it was 4 a.m.
They answer you at 4 a.m.
And I was like, yeah, I think my waters have broken. She's like, have you had any contractions? I was like, no. They're like, well, come in then. I was like, I've got my 3-year-old at home. They're like, yeah, you can't bring him. I was like, oh.
I don't know.
And luckily my sister had just got back from holiday that morning.
Thank goodness, because I SOS texted everyone I thought might be awake at 4 a.m, including everyone I knew with insomnia and everyone I knew who has a small baby. I was like, could we leave a 3-year-old at your doorstep? None of them were awake.
Luckily my sister came round, so she stayed with Rupert, and then we told Rupert, we're going now, we're going to the hospital, and he was half asleep. He didn't really know what was going on.
He had no idea, but he was just like, okay, because we'd been prepping him for the time when we do actually go to the hospital. So he was just like, I guess I'm confused about the days. Yeah. Sure then. And we went by taxi to the hospital. In a very dark maternity triage. No one is here. We are in the hospital.
Yeah, last night my waters broke, quite unexpectedly, at 4 a.m. If you hear the beep, it's because I have to press every time I can feel the babies move. But at least I've had some sleep. And yesterday, to be fair, I was feeling some, I just felt off. The last 48 hours, I just felt different. But I just kept putting it down to the fact that I was nervous about the cesarean. But now I actually know. And Tilly was being different around me.
Tilly absolutely knows.
She didn't want to leave my side. And they've just done a swab. They've confirmed it is my waters.
So hello, welcome to the hospital room. Where we're going to meet the babies very, very soon. I'm feeling quite calm. Yesterday was a complete mess. Emotionally, mentally, couldn't quite get my brain in gear to do any work whatsoever. But all of the dramas that have gone on in this pregnancy have meant that I've fallen behind, and I'm no longer ahead. Very far. I have a few videos ahead, a few. So the reason that I am fully made up in this hospital room and wearing quite a nice dress and a gilet, don't mind the gilet, is that this is the entire outfit and look I was filming with last night and then fell asleep.
Whereas I'm like, clearly just got out of bed at 4 in the morning.
So we turned up here at 5 a.m. and the midwife was like, nice makeup. Did you do your hair this morning? I'm like, no. Very much did my hair yesterday morning. There you go, that's an accurate representation of our babies right now. With some teeny tiny hats. Hello. How are you feeling?
Excited. A bit nervous.
Understandable.
Trying not to think too much about the actual surgery. Just think about the outcome.
And the outcome will be wonderful.
Yeah, I have a good feeling they're going to both be fine, strong little babies.
Yes.
This baby small but mighty.
Yes. And look at these adorable hats I bought.
Yeah.
Look at them. They're so tiny when you actually put a hand in.
Yeah. They might still be big though, because it's 1.5. It says it's 3 to 5 pound or 1.4 kilos to 2.3, and our babies are probably about nearer to the 1.5.
Oh yeah, that's true. I did buy the larger size. I didn't. I bought the mid-size. The beeping machine comes with us, however.
We're because we are now on the delivery suite.
Dun dun dun. Hi. They're going to be coming out at 9:30ish. Or a little bit after, once Claudia's blood-thinning injection from last night has worn off.
And also, that's about the time that's the sort of time the morning shift normally starts anyway. So
yeah, you need the doctors to actually be here.
They tried to get the cannula in, and luckily they got an anaesthetist to come and do it. It's one of the worst bits, to be honest.
I think it seems like only anaesthetists can put cannulas in you. Your body's like, how dare anyone else try? My father is an anaesthetist, don't you know? I only accept
when I'm a bit nervous, my brain's just hide away.
That's true.
And I've not had anything to eat,
no,
much to drink, so.
But we're going to see our babies very soon. Who's amazing? You're amazing. Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous.
Fair enough. Absolutely.
I was like, yeah, I'm mentally prepared for my cesarean. I'm like, well, I kind of thought it was tomorrow, so I'm kind of, is it better? Because when it's when you have to give a presentation at school, you're nervous about it, and then you get told that you need to go first, and you're like, oh no. But actually it's better to go first because you haven't had so long to get nervous about it.
Oh yeah, you're not sitting there watching the other people get theirs. All right, we've just had an update. Not a good one. Calm and relaxed. They do not currently have beds for the babies.
They don't have 2 cots in the intensive care bit or even the special care bit. It's been busy, so we might have to transfer the babies to a different hospital, but we don't know yet. No one's spoken to us about it. And if the babies get transferred, then I can't go with them until at least 1 or 2 days, because I'll be post-surgery.
Okay, we are definitely being shipped to a different hospital now. This makes me sad because we toured the one here and I have pictured everything in my mind, and they have nice views. They have very nice views, you should see. Look, here's the view. Over there you can see, there's Brighton Old Pier. Yeah, there's the new pier there. And then that's the I-360. We spent all of our tax money on that. Yes, it is just a pole that rises into the sky. Occasionally a big donut rises up on it. Don't ask.
So we were in Brighton. We were all prepped. I had my cannula in. They were like, you're going to be down having surgery. You're going to be first on the list by 9:20, probably thing.
Yeah.
Got really to 9:15.
This is an emergency.
Got to 9:15, still just in the delivery ward. So they were like, okay, you're definitely not having like major contractions. We're just going to check that you're not dilated. Luckily, I wasn't dilated. I wasn't having major contractions. I was having a contraction every like 20 minutes. But I still got to go in an ambulance because I was technically in labour and my waters are broken. So I got strapped in. We got wheeled along the corridors. I was with my head up because I put it in this really weird position, but I didn't want to like lie down and look like I was like, I don't know, I guess I was just alert because I was like, so I was getting pushed along. Everyone kept saying like how glamorous Jessica looked and how did she get herself ready like that so early in the morning because it was like 5 a.m. and I was like, she went to sleep like this. It's all a lie.
It's really dirty, you don't.
Yeah, and then we got in an ambulance, and the suspension on ambulances is really, really bad.
Terrible.
Really, feel awful if anyone's like traveling with a broken bone or like they should really improve the suspension on those things.
That would be too expensive.
They also have a cat flap inside the I was like, it says cat flap, and I'm like, why have you got a cat flap in your ambulance? They're like, that's our bin. We just need to have a thing. It
really works. So
yeah, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's the NHS for you. But they got us safe and sound, all three of us, plus you, so 4. You were on just after the ride.
I was just there too.
Filming me, just going really awkwardly. And then we got to the other hospital, and we were a bit panicked a little because this hospital would only take babies from a later gestation, like from 33 weeks.
Yeah, it's not just that. It's not just about the later gestation. It's also the level of needs that the babies have.
Yeah, they've not actually got an intensive care unit here. They've just got a special care unit, which means that they don't have as many needs. So we were worried that if the twins came out with high needs, that they might not have it, they wouldn't be met here, and then we'd have to be transferred again to another hospital.
Except we wouldn't be transferred. The babies would be transferred.
Yeah,
they would be staying.
I would be stayed here as a post-surgery patient, but then the twins would have been transferred. So we were a bit worried about that. But then the doctors here were like, we have no reason to believe that they will be intensive care. Like, they've had their steroid shots. They're not showing like fetal distress from your like Doppler scans.
Even though the doctors in the other hospital had said, oh, they'll start in room 1, the most intensive care part. And so that's why I was like, are you absolutely sure that this hospital has the stuff?
So anyway, the doctors assured us that they had everything they needed if the babies did really need urgent stuff, but they wouldn't be able to like keep them here if it was like they needed to be on the stuff ongoing. Then they would be transferred to another hospital further away. But luckily, the babies were born. Jessica rocking it in her scrubs and the gilet, which is a bit of a strange look.
Well, I'm warm and I have pockets.
You should turn that alarm off again.
Okay. I can turn the alarm off. I know how. See, I'm professional. It's going to go again in just like a second.
I know.
So I'm here ready.
It's because they keep syncing up so the monitor thinks that it's the same baby.
Why does it ring for the same baby?
I've got no gestational diabetes now. I will happily drink some of this delightfully cold Jessica. Although it is going to make me really gassy. My stomach's already
It's going to make you so gassy, yeah.
Let's have a little sip.
I've been under a lot of stress today, and I deserve this.
I think it was a bit of a scare. It was a much scarier experience of a cesarean than the
I have
previous.
emergency cesarean written down now on the birth registration, like born by emergency cesarean, which sounds way more dramatic than it was because it really wasn't that dramatic.
Okay.
I was very calm.
I think everyone else
I did cry.
You did cry. I think everyone else is being really calm with us. But then there were also a lot of people in the room and all of the equipment. When the babies came out and they kind of put them in their different little what are they called? Resuscitaires.
Yeah, like
resuscitaires. And there are 5 people crowding around them, and we don't I mean, obviously you were lying down, so you
I'm like,
you're like,
can't
open up,
move.
you can't move. But I wasn't able to go to see them until
They said
kind of given the all clear.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a like,
well, we knew, but
kind
I knew,
of moment.
but I knew that because like when they took them out, they cried.
One of them cried.
Yeah, so that
one
was
of them
quite
cried.
reassuring.
And then when they were like, okay, you can come around now, you can come over. And the two of them were in there, and one of them, they both had oxygen masks on and were getting supplemental
Which, to be
oxygen.
fair, they did tell us that they would have that before we went into surgery. The doctor did say that they were going to put that over their mouth, so at least that wasn't like a shock.
Yeah, there's a difference between being told something though and seeing
Yeah,
five people holding down a very
Yeah, I mean,
small...
I didn't see it because I was lying on the table with my...
And they are, no matter how much you imagine it and picture it in your mind, it is really hard to conceptualize what a baby looks like. And we spent so much time Googling, what does a 36-week baby look like? What does a 34-week baby look like? What does a 33-week baby look like? And that doesn't really give you any concept of what your baby
I think
is
there's
going
not
to look
many
like, because everything is different.
Also, there's not that many
Everyone's
photos
different.
of babies that young because it's kind of quite an invasion of their vulnerability, isn't it? Like you don't really take a picture of a baby that young and post it.
Yeah, and even before, when you immediately see them after they kind of come out of you, they're
like-
not in an incubator, they're not like all washed up, and they don't have their cords attached yet, but everything around them seems so huge.
You still forget they really are quite small when they first come out. Like Rupert was
Except
small.
now I think all other newborn babies are humongous.
But when we had Rupert, we thought he was small. I remember we were like, wow, he's so small.
Also, other people thought he was small. I think we are a little lucky in that we had Rupert, who was I think it's fair to say, a skinny baby.
Yeah.
He was
7
skinny
pounds.
baby. And the girls are very, very slim. And maybe they would be if they were born...
Yeah, I think they would just be
one
like...
baby full term.
I feel like they would just be like they are now, but bigger. What was that? I mean, like, I don't think they would suddenly be like chunky.
Larger?
Yeah.
Like as if we got the Photoshop and gone...
Yeah.
Rather than...
Just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not particularly fat or chunkier.
No.
One thing I do love though is that because one of them is a little heavier than the other, she has a rounder face, so it was immediately clear for us which was which, and we've not had an issue being like, which of our identical twins is which.
The weird thing is like they obviously lose their water weight at the beginning, so they lose like up to 10% of their weight, which the doctor said is mostly water weight anyway. But like she's still got the chubbier cheeks.
She does. Yeah, so from going up there, and I actually got to cut the cord after it had already been cut. So it was no longer attached to Claudia, but I got to cut it again.
You got to trim the cord.
I got to trim the cord of one of the girls because the other needed more help, and I didn't actually get to see her face. But I got to see.
They took her away quite quickly to the special care unit.
I got to see twin ones.
I didn't see either of the twins' faces until I got taken up in my bed to meet them in the incubator. Like I didn't need, because they said they would put them on my chest if it was possible, but obviously it wasn't with either of the twins. But I was just like, she's fine, she's fine.
And I think they
like,
temporarily moved her oxygen.
Yeah, so that's
so that you could see a bit more.
So then I went into the recovery room. I was in there for like 4 hours. At one point, I was in there completely on my own. Jessica went off with my sister to go get a snack, and then like the midwife left me, and I didn't have the call button. And then the monitor, my ECG, started telling me I was going into Brady, and I was like, "Am I? Oh my god!" And it was like, bang,
"Am I dying?"
Bang, bang. And it's because my blood pressure was going so low, like my heart rate and blood pressure was like.
But every time they kept testing Claudia, like, "Are you dying?"
They were like,
"What's going on?"
Because I was just talking normally, and they're like, "Do you normally have like such a low, like blood pressure and heart rate?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's usually like 60 something, but it was like under 50, like 49, 50."
Yeah. She's like, "No, I do nothing."
Maybe I think it was because I've been carrying around all this extra weight of the twins, and suddenly it was like out of me. My body was like, "Oh, I don't have to work that hard."
Gosh, wow.
Yeah,
chill time.
One of the advantages of the girls having gone to special care is that I got to just like recover and not have to immediately like pick them up and breastfeed them. Like, I mean,
it's not like you had a choice.
Yeah, I would just like to see like the silver lining about everything. That was great.
It was wonderful. Didn't have to pick them up. Yeah, it's good stuff. So from when they were born, it took about 24 hours before we were able to hold twin 1, and then 48 hours until we were able to hold twin 2. We can currently only hold them every 6 hours. It's a care time, it's a touch time, and you change their nappy, and that wakes them up enough for them to then try breastfeeding. And in between those times, they're fed through an NG tube, and we're meant to not wake them up, not touch them, not interfere with them, which is incredibly hard. We are in Claudia's hospital room.
Yeah, I got my own room after 2 nights of being in the loudest.
She got a swanky upgrade because she had trouble sleeping.
Well, yeah, I think they try and keep... I've got no baby with me, and all the other mums have a baby that's crying, and I need to rest because I'm like...
trying to make milk for 2.
Yeah, exactly. And getting up in the middle of the night to go to do their care hours and express milk, so... Yeah, so anyway, luckily there was a room that became available after 2 nights of not getting any sleep.
I think at one point you were like, I have not had more than 6 hours of sleep since my waters broke.
Yeah.
3 days ago.
Yeah, but I feel like I look a bit fresher now.
You do, you look good, you're looking great. Looking lovely. I've been crying though, if I look puffy.
Yeah, I was feeling a bit sad yesterday because even though it's nice to have stayed in the hospital and have longer time to heal and recover and be close to the girls, and I can pop over to see them whenever, and let my milk come in and have the hospital pumps and the support, it's still not that nice, like being away from home and like you and Rupert.
It's really sad, I think.
It's just a bit depressing, really, isn't it?
It is. I think
we could paint them a bit more joyfully. Like, that's the only artwork on the wall over there.
How dare they? Look at this colour. What is this? Horrendous.
It's like vomit colour.
Oh. They went for vomit and... Wait.
That's pink. It's just so... It is like a pink... Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm calling myself out. No, I'm calling myself in. Jessica, not acceptable. So, let's no longer judge the hospital colours.
Because my milk took 4 days to come in. But look, now I'm producing like this much at each pump.
Masses of
milk. Which is really good, seeing it's only day 5.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know anything about breastfeeding, this is masses of milk.
Yeah, it's good. So they're both having, and basically this isn't, most of the time it got up to 70 when I did a pump this morning. But this was because I did this pump after I'd already fed the girls a little bit, because they're both managing to latch on a little bit. They get a bit tired because they're tiny. So yeah, hopefully I get into a good flow of, I've got to pump every 3 hours, so I've got to wake myself up in the night. I'm going to hire one of those big pumps.
It is humongous. I look forward to this.
And I'll just be sat next to you in the middle of the night, like...
I mean, I don't wake up to anything, so...
and then hopefully then we'll start getting a bit of a supply going to the point that this time next week, hopefully they'll have enough here that they can just have just be on breast milk and no formula.
They look amazing.
Right now it's still kind of exciting. I'm like, oh, look at what I'm making. But whether everyone will feel like that in a month's time.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I keep getting very upset by baby clothes because I feel like it's my... So when Rupert was born, I did the changes and Claude did the feeding. Makes sense, that's what we can do. And so now again, I'm like, I do the changes. We're allowed to touch them every 6 hours. So we get to change their nappies then. And so I'm like, I want to change them. And we're just been allowed to put clothes on them.
Yeah. Although now...
But someone didn't let me buy enough clothes. Someone removed items from my basket.
I was like, yeah, I don't know what, I just thought they'd been naked for longer, and they really weren't. They were only naked for 3 days.
I think they also thought, oh, they'll grow. They won't be 3 pounds for a long time. More tiny clothes are necessary.
Oh, I'm looking at these bags on my eyes. Do I have bags on my eyes?
Do you?
Thanks for that close-up.
It's okay.
You've got bags under your eyes too. It started. Mums of twins, newborn twins.
We're going through a pretty stressful time, darling. So go. I think my bag started when you got pregnant. You cannot believe how excited I was when the girls were finally at the stage where they were able to control their own body temperature and they were ready to wear clothes. I thought I was prepared. I thought I was ready. I thought I had enough clothes for teeny tiny babies. I did not. I absolutely did not. no. I had a box of clothes, and I was like, preemie clothes, yeah, No. It's very hard to find clothes for babies who are actually £3. Supermarkets do some preemie clothes, they're for £5 babies, not 3. Though the ward taught me a really good trick. Buy the £5 preemie clothes, run them on your hottest wash, put them in the hot dryer, they've shrunk. Now they fit a £3 baby. So, you know, life hack if you have a tiny child.
Which is very wiggly, so it won't be very clear sound. Should we listen to her farts now?
A gurgly tummy.
Is that funny?
So Rupert came in to come and meet his baby sisters after 2 nights. Obviously the first night was a bit of everything happening all at once. We went to the second night for him to feel settled with the idea, and I got to kind of come home and just spend that evening with him and let him know that it's okay. Even though we could leave in a bit of a drama, everything's fine, everything's okay. And I was going to pick him up after school and take him to go and meet the girls, just like the original plan that we had initially talked about. Just wasn't the original day. When he first saw them, he was a little worried about how small and delicate they look, which is so completely understandable. I had the same reaction. I think children are really used to seeing this, whether it's drawings or photographs of their friends' baby siblings. They are this big, plump, healthy babies that are definitely full term. You know, you watch TV and what do they pull out when that baby has just been born? That's a 3-month-old. Don't tell me that baby just came out of her. So he was a little taken aback, but the doctors and nurses here have been absolutely amazing with him, so sweet, and let him get involved in helping as much as he could, whether it was just carrying things back and forth in little drinks, and he handed out cakes to everyone here because we brought in some cakes, and they gave him a really sweet book and a little toy that he could play with, and they have table chairs. It's a lot for him to process, but the hospital aspect of it is harder than I have baby sisters. I was perfectly comfortable on the floor. It was absolutely fine.
Yeah, but I was not comfortable. Like, the special care is really nice and peaceful.
It is.
In contrast.
It's really nice. It's lovely. The girls have a room together because it's a 2-cot room. So they were like, let's put these twins in here.
And then they got changed into
together,
a slightly less needs incubator, but still separate ones.
Yeah.
And now they're in a shared one.
Yeah.
And that all happened quite quickly. Like, that all happened this week.
The hardest part, I guess, of all this is managing a family.
Yeah. It's just like trying to have a routine, because basically our entire life is here right now.
Yeah.
But not our entire life, because Rupert is a big part of our entire life, and but he's not here. And
2/3 of our children are. It is very difficult not having all of your children under one roof, and therefore not being able to meet their needs in that way.
Yeah.
Because you have to choose to spend time with these ones or that one. And it's really tough for him.
Because I'm the one breastfeeding and expressing, and then, someone like, it makes sense for me to be here with the girls and you to be with Rupert.
But he needs a lot of love. Obviously, things have been a little all over the place. And thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with whilst we sort our lives out. This is, part 1 of us. We have babies. It's just kind of cobbled together, I think, of whatever we've managed to do. We'll see what happens. There will be a second part to this video where we will probably talk about NICU because the girls' stay should be hopefully 3 weeks or 4. We've been told to expect a 3 to 4 week stay here in the NICU. We will see. Thank you so much to my wonderful channel members, members of the Kellgren-Fozard Club, for basically making the maternity leave possible, so I am not internally freaking out too much about everything I didn't manage to get done in time before these babies came. And actually feel like it's okay and I can just spend all of my days here in the hospital with them. Sorry, I'm actually trying not to cry, but it's fine, it's good. New videos should be coming out every fortnight. Some I pre-filmed, and some will be updates on the girls and how they are doing. See you then.